need to know about Ghana football that is sinking? Particularly.
Thank you so much, Chairman. Chairman, first of all, let me thank you for the invitation for us to appear before you and also to respond to your call that, like you rightly mentioned, after the Ghana disappointing exit from the AFCON 2023, I came to this August House and I made a statement on our government role, the role government played in ensuring that we get our national team represent our country in the African biggest football tournament, which is the AFCON. The statement captured everything that we did before, during, and what we needed to do after the tournament. And also again, the petition that the Fix Ghana Football Pressure Group also submitted to Parliament. The ministry was in copy. Copy was sent to the ministry as well. So we want to thank them for also for the love for the game that we all love. If we are not getting the results that we are all yearning for, it is important that we raise our concerns so that we can all improve on the performance of our national team. But Mr. Chairman, if you don't mind, I want to go by some of the points that they've captured in their petition, if that will be fine. First of all, on the national policy on football, just to draw attention that the ministry have engaged all stakeholders, including the media, on making sure that we have a sports policy. And I believe it's unfortunate that the Fix Ghana football have left, but most of them were at the stakeholders conference, where we called all stakeholders in Ghana to work towards having a sports policy which include football. And that sports policy, as we have said, have been transferred to the National Development Planning Commission. They have made their input after all the stakeholders' engagement. They have made their input. Is at the final stage of it being launched. So in their grievances of the lack of football policy, once the policy is adored, most of the issues that need to be addressed will be captured in the policy. Aside that, we are all aware that we have a National Sports Act, the National Sports Authority Act, that was established in 2016. And with your support, we have worked around the clock to get the LI, the legislative instrument, also put in place. Now the legislative instruments have been passed. And this instrument will also help in making sure that we improve on our policies and making sure that we regulate the sector very well and bring in dividends and improvement in the sector. Mr. Chairman, when it comes to national team management, the ministry role, as we all know, is making sure that we provide the logistics for our national teams. We all know that we have various national teams for both female and male. We have under 17 national team for our country. We have under 20 national team for both male and female. We have under 23 national team for both male and female. And we have the senior national team, what we all know as the Black Stars and the Black Queens as well. And in all these national teams engage in continental and global competitions when it comes to qualification. So, in response to the petitioner's concern of we not having salaries for coaches, there are like honorable members of parliament inquired from the petitioners, there are terms of references that the FA will normally go into in engaging a coach, whether it is the juvenile stage, that's under 17, or under 20, or under 23, or the senior national team. There are always terms and reference, and then terms and conditions. So, and whether it is also male or female, these are all the conditions are captured. So normally the FA will engage and have contracts with all these national team coaches. They have contracts and the terms are spelled out. So if your terms of condition in your contract says that we are going to engage you, but the benefit that you get is when the senior national team is competing. So because of based on performance, you should be able to qualify it. When you are qualifying for continental stage, you get bonuses, and you, the coach, will get double of what the players takes. Then also, when you also qualify for the tournament and you are going for the main tournament, the bonuses that you are going to get, you, the coach, will get double of what the players will get. Then also after that, if there is any trophy that you are going to win, you, the coach, will get some component of amount. These are performance-based contracts that they normally sign. It doesn't necessarily mean that every coach should be based on monthly salary. So these contracts are always signed, and when I listened to them, they said they have not been paid. Almost all our coaches, whether it is the national team coach or it is, that is the senior national team coach, or the juvenile side from those I've mentioned, once they go into this tournament, and whatever is due them, they are paid. They are paid. So if you signed to this contract and later on you come and say you don't get monthly salary just because maybe the senior national team coach gets monthly salary, I don't think that it is fair, because before you even pen your signature, you know the terms and conditions of what you are penning your signature to. So that is what I want to bring clarity. Mr. Chairman, the other issue I want to mention has to do with funding. Funding is a major and the most critical thing when it comes to our national team management and also even sports development. And because of that, my predecessor submitted a sports fund cabinet proposal to cabinet, and we needed to get some component from the National Youth Authority share of the District Assembly Common Fund. But cabinet, in its wisdom, thought that there will be implications on the youth activities once we take the proposed 50% from the District Assembly Common Fund allocation to use it to establish the sports fund. So cabinet asked the ministry to do an impact analysis for cabinet. And Mr. Chairman, that impact analysis was done, and we realized that there will be huge impact if we should go that route. So the ministry have now engaged all key stakeholders, and we have put together a sports fund cabinet proposal, which we think that it is very feasible, because we have also seen other countries like Morocco, where they use lotteries, the sports lotteries, in raising funds and also getting some shares from the betting revenues that comes in raising funds to support their national teams. And we are using similar route, and that cabinet proposal has been finalized, and it is on its way to cabinet for cabinet approval. And once that is done, it will also come to Parliament for Parliament to also pass it. Mr. Chairman, the other thing we agree with the petitioners that to be able to have a very robust sports economy, then we have to put our attention to the grassroots sports development. And that is why this government have invested heavily in sports infrastructure at the grassroots level. Because before the assumption of His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, we had only three AstroTurf or community sports facilities in the entire country. As we speak today, Mr. Chairman, we have constructed more than 160 AstroTurfs in various districts in Ghana. Aside that, we have also constructed simultaneously the 10 youth resource centers. 6 of them, which one of them has been commissioned, which is Kofodia, while, as we speak, is ready for commissioning. Dunkaofin is also almost ready for commissioning. Azim, in the western region, is also almost ready for commissioning. We have outstanding Domahinkro, also the phase 2 is almost done. We still have challenges to do with funding to be able to complete the rest of the 4. Because, Mr. Chairman, you know that the funding source for these 10 youth resource centers, which comes with stadium facilities, like 5,000-seater facilities, FIFA standard pitch, tracks, athletics tracks, youth resource centers, entrepreneur centers, ICT center, and also basketball, volleyball centers, tennis courts. All these facilities, the 10 that I've mentioned, all capture them. And an ICT center. Mr. Chairman, all this huge investment in sports is to make sure that when you get back to the grassroots, at least there are facilities, there are facilities there for you to be able to use to develop more talents so that we can have the best of talents into our national teams. Notwithstanding that, Mr. Chairman, we also use the opportunity for hosting the entire Africa for the African Games in investing very hugely in our sports infrastructure. Mr. Chairman, the University of Ghana Sports Stadium, which was the main venue for the African Games, has been completed with an improved seating capacity and with a FIFA standard pitch. Currently, as we speak, almost 4 clubs are using it as their venue for the premiership, the current premiership, the current ongoing premiership. We also have a warm-up track, which is just a training pitch, which is just about 5 meters away from the main bowl. We have athletic tracks, which is certified by the World Athletics Body. So the timing that you do on these tracks are recognized globally. And as we speak, we have children, young children, if you go there every weekend, using this track to develop their talents. So we all agree that once these facilities are put together, the impact, long-term, medium to long-term impact into our national team is going to be very, very huge. We are going to have more talent developed, and most of these talents, once they are harnessed, are going to project our country and compete and win laurels for our country. So going back to the grassroots sports development, after putting all this infrastructure, the focus of government is now shifted from sports promotion to sports development. And what do I mean by sports development? The sports development here means we having community sports competition, that the district level sports competition. Then we are able to get to the regional level and to the national level. So we have instituted what we call the national games, starting from the district level competitions because of these facilities there. And I'm also engaging with the Minister for Youth, Minister of Education and the Ghana Education Service for school sports as well. And the school sports secretariat federation is going to be established we are establishing a school sports federation, which will focus on making sure that the inter-schools that we have currently, we improve upon it. We improve on the inter-school sports that we have so that we can develop more talent in the schools. Luckily for us, now we have free SHS. So everybody is moving, have opportunity to be in school. And we can then identify these talents, train them and groom them very well in the schools. Then once they move there, His Excellency the President intends to convert the current Botima Sports Complex to a university for sports for development. A university for sports for development. And for the information of members, Cabinet has approved, we have gotten executive approval from Cabinet, and very soon, the draft bill for the establishment of the University for Sports for Development, which is currently at the Attorney General, will be lead, and it will be referred to this committee to look into it for us to establish the university. Aside that, the Winneba Sports College is also being revamped, making sure that we get partners to support them. They've done their scheme of service, which is currently with the ministry, the Public Service Commission, the scheme of service. So we are revamping the Winneba Sports College. And they are doing various training for technical for officials, not only even in Winneba, but they now move away from Winneba to Kumasi and Tamale. So do the northern zone in Tamale, the middle belt zone in Kumasi, then the southern belt zone, they do it in Winneba itself, the college itself. So these are the technical training centers that government intend to put, making sure that we develop school sports and identify talent for these colleges and technical training centers in the country. Mr. Chairman, the call for tax reduction for sporting events is a good call. It's a good call. The biggest challenge we have for funding our sports, you know, globally, beverage companies invest a lot in sports development. When you take the Premiership in UK, for example, you see a lot of alcoholic beverages companies sponsoring the league. But in Ghana, unfortunately for us, the law that we passed in establishing the Food and Drugs Authority, there is a clause there that fringe on any alcoholic beverages in supporting or sponsoring any sporting activity. And key sports stakeholders like the FA, the GALCA, and other federations have raised these issues. So, yet, our populace, Ghanaian populace, we consume most of these foreign sporting events here in Ghana. So the Premiership, you have everybody in Ghana watching the Premiership in any way. Yet in your own country, we are banning that, no, they shouldn't sponsor. So it becomes very difficult when you write to, for example, Guinness Ghana, which in the past was sponsoring our senior national teams and making sure that they invest a lot in sports development. But now they can't do so because of our own laws that we have passed, because of the law, the Food and Drugs Authority law that we have passed. And Mr. Chairman, maybe once we finish, I will refer you to the specific clause so that together, we have raised this concern to Mr. Speaker. When we did the Democracy Cup, the FA had the opportunity of raising this concern to Mr. Speaker. So we can look at that as well, so that we can then create more opportunity for us to have the sports fund and have more revenue in it. One thing in establishing the sports fund, and another thing is being able to do what? Get money, funds into it. So once that is done, we should be able to find ways of getting revenue into it. Then I want to conclude, Mr. Chairman, but going back to our participation in the AFCON, like I mentioned earlier, the ministry role was to ensure that government raised the needed funds to ensure that once the technical team and the FA rise to the ministry, that their proposal is to camp the players here. These are the financial requirements. These are the logistics requirements. The ministry will make sure that all those requirements are met. And in this case, Mr. Chairman, everything that the FA and the technical team requested, whether it is for hotels and training venues for the team, we had the funds to do what? To pay. Whether flying all the players that were selected by the senior technical team, we fly all of them to the camp. The ministry got the funds, and we flew all of them to their base. We've chartered a flight here and took them to the team to Abidjan, Ivory Coast, Ivory Coast, La Côte d'Ivoire. And the facilities that were supposed to stay there, all the logistics, the sports equipment, everything was provided. So on our part, as government, we ensure that everything that was needed to be done was done. Their per diems were paid both at the pre-tournament and at the tournament stage. So with regards to that, that is what I have to say. Thank you so much. We spent that, one of the issues that bothers a lot of Ghanaians, like all of us, ordinary Ghanaians, which we are all concerned, has to do with the way we spend more attention to our blasters as compared to the other teams. So you have, like I mentioned, you have the satellites, you have the meteors, you have the starlets.
Please mention the women too.
You have the princess. The princesses, Colombia. You have the princesses, you have the queens, and you have the maidens, the black maidens, all of them. Any time that there is tournament, whether it is qualification for any tournament on the African continent, or whether it is a qualification for any tournament globally. So when I say global, whether it's a World Cup or it is an African Cup of Nations, they first submit their budget. We sit down and agree with the budget. Where we have challenges, we indicate. Then we all agree. But once we agree, on the government side, we make sure that everything is provided. The black princesses, for example, recently just exited the World Cup in Colombia. They were in camp in Pram Pram. The FA requested for us to be transferred so that they can be able to play competitions in Cape Coast. We gave them the opportunity, government funded, and ensured that they were camped about 3 weeks or so. 3 weeks or so in Cape Coast. Then from there, they were brought back to Accra again. They were in Labadi for another 1 week before their departure to Colombia. When they were going, we made sure that everything that is needed in terms of their flights to go, in terms of their per diem to go, in terms of their outstanding bonuses, everything was paid for them. Everything. So when it comes to, we don't discriminate at all when it comes to our national team. We don't. As government, we ensure that we provide equitable resources to all our national team, not even only football, to the other other sporting discipline. For example, the Olympic Games that just ended. Ghana was represented. The government ensured that the team that went, their needed resources that they needed for them to be able to camp and go for the competition was done. The para team, the same thing. So we don't discriminate at all when it comes to sport development. We ensure that because we know that God-given talent is not everybody that is endowed with football talent. Some are endowed with boxing. And I know you are very good athletes. You can run, and here you are a very good 100-meter runner. And you still chair our committee. So, Mr. Chairman, thank you so much for the opportunity.
Coach we have for our Black Stars.
Thank you so much. Mr. Chairman, the minister have no any rule. I've just spelled out the rule for the minister and the role of government. When it comes to national team, technical team, is the FA responsibility. The FA they have their technical directorate that decide on who coaches our national team. It is not their ministries, it's not government responsibility.
Thank you. If the minister has no role, or the ministry has no role to play in the selection of a coach for the Ghana Black Stars, like I said, you work in collaboration with GFA. Is it also not right that sometimes you offer advice or suggestions to FA in the selection of a coach?
Thank you. Mr. Chairman, when, if it is about the concerns about putting the technical team, the set team together, and the public have a concerns, I represent the public when it comes to sports. I will then question why, for example, immediately after the exit, why we've not come here, and I intend to agree with the petitioners that immediately after the exit, we should have been here in Ghana, reports submitted to the minister after the tournament, then based on the report and the recommendation, a search team put together. But lo and behold, the FA, without consulting me at that time, and because they appoint the coach, like I mentioned, I don't have any role in appointing a coach. My role has been spelled out, and they put it there. I also questioned them because of the concerns from Ghanaians.
Chairman, my last question. Go ahead. Proceed. This one, Honorable Minister, in your own opinion, do you think the challenge we have today in our national teams, be it under 17, 20, 23, and the Black Stars, is a coaching problem?
Mr. Chairman, I would say a lot of factors. A lot of factors, because I won't say it's a coach. If I have my way, we should give our coaches time. If you look at global, even Africa, if you take Senegal, the coach in Senegal is almost 6 years. 7 years. So the coach then will understand the players that he's having. You understand? You give the coach more time to study. You can't just, because we want immediate resource, we tend to react when things don't go our way. But I believe strongly that once we give our coaches the time to know the players better and be there for long, and to understand the philosophy of each player, making sure that there will be resource. If you look at the last 4 years, look at the coaches that we've changed. And if you look at even our peers in Africa, take Morocco, take Senegal, take Egypt, everybody is, even Cameroon now, if everybody is hailing their coaches because they had bad period, but they stood by their coaches. So that is my response. There are a lot of factors that go into it. It's not just coaching. You might have one coach maybe here and there who don't have the qualities that you are looking for. Maybe after you have hired him, there are certain standards that you are looking for. But if you don't get it, then you want to change him, fine. But I believe that not all this number of coaches that we have changed will lack those qualities and standards that we have.
Thank you for now.
To whether coaches, he's involved in a way in the selection of coaches. From his response, he has no hands in it. I would like to find out from him, in this case, in his response to his statement to Parliament, he described how worrisome he was as a minister. So you don't have any role to play in player selection, coach selection, so why should you be worried? That's my first question.
I'm a patriotic Ghanaian. I'm carrying the entire country. And you lead a delegation, a team to represent your country, then things don't go with the way you expect, and you should be happy. I should be the number one worried person. And that's why I said I was very worried, because my expectation, and with the caliber of the players that we have, and their individual performance in their various clubs, I had no doubt at all in my mind that going to Ivory Coast, the team was going to do very well. But it didn't turn out to be so I was worried.
My follow-up question is to find out from you.
Yet I've put in all my effort in making sure that everything is provided. Eh? You'll be worried.
Okay. My follow-up question on same is to ask you, do you think there's something that, as a minister, you could have done that you failed to do that resulted in our abysmal performance in Côte d'Ivoire?
In fact, not at all. I did everything that I should have done as a minister.
Thank you. My next question is, you've mentioned a lot of interventions and then policies that your government has put in place. But would you accept the fact that football administration and football itself, the image of Ghana's football under your government has been very abysmal since 2017 up to date? None of our national teams have done anything so well that we as Ghanaians will be proud of, despite all the policies that you have indicated the government have put in place. But I have a last question.
It's rather the opposite. The most abysmal part was in 2014 when we went to Brazil. It was the global shame to our country, and it's not this government.
I am saying this because since 2017, you have, and then even as a minister, you've mentioned a lot of policies in terms of even the 116 or 160 AstroTurf that under your government has actually sprung up around. Do you think that, one, is it the AstroTurf that is going to improve football in Ghana? Because even in the days when we didn't have AstroTurfs, we were doing well in terms of our football and our sports fraternity. We were doing so well. Do you think that the AstroTurf that you have put in place
Mr. Chairman,
are the ones that are going to resolve this?
Okay. Mr. Chairman, we all know that once you start implementing policies, and in my presentation, I did indicated that we have shifted because we identified the problem. What was the problem for our decline? And we realized that even facilities was our major problem. And we've tackled the facilities bit. We are tackling it. What's next? The next is to develop programs, competitions. And I mentioned that we have started the district level competitions to the regional level competitions to national level. So we have instituted what we call the national games. And policy will take time to mature. You will get dividends today. You might not be seeing the outcome of this initiative, numerous initiative and huge investment that we are putting in. But in the next 5 years, you see a lot of talent coming up. And I can assure you that because of this numerous investment that we have done, the 10 stadiums we are putting together, the over 160 AstroTurf, that community sports facilities that we have put together, the huge investment that we have made at the University of Ghana, and making sure that we have world-class athletics track, the FIFA standard football stadium. Aside that, we have also built the biggest aquatic center in Africa, where the timing, we have 10-lane competition pool, 10-lane warm-up pool. As we speak, in October 6th to 9th, Africa is organizing the African Championship of swimming in Ghana. Why? Because 23 countries are going to participate in this competition. Why? Because we now have a standard world-class facility. And that is what I said when we were hosting this country, we were hosting the entire Africa here, that it is the facility that we were putting together was not only for the African Games, but beyond the Games. Recently, CAF wrote to us that because we organize a very successful African Games, they want us to host the Women's Champions League here in Ghana. CAF wrote to us. Why? Because they've seen that we have put together, Ghana was able to host the entire Africa. We had the best African Games in the history of the competition. And CAF wanted us to host. Aside that, we are receiving numerous rugby. Rugby, as we speak, the World Rugby have written to us to host women rugby tournament here. Why? Because Ghana now have a rugby stadium in the entire Africa, apart from South Africa. The next country that have that standard is Ghana. It's Ghana. And the rugby, the Champions League is coming out next month. So various sporting disciplines. Yeah. And the African Athletic Championship, the African Athletic Championship have declared Ghana next year.
So, Honorable Minister,
next year to host.
Yes, I want him to quickly, so that I can do your last question. Yes, Richard, go ahead with the last, so that I come to Honorable Time before I come back to you again.
Okay, so Honorable Minister,
I will have my last words.
Yes, Honorable Minister, I appreciate your responses, and I understand you are a politician, so your responses are not things that I should expect. But I just want you to, and I'm being very frank with you, that all the issues that you mentioned, the other sporting interventions that you have put in place, now we are talking football. And even though a lot of people have pushed that we should consider other fields in the sports fraternity, the issue of football, growing up, when we didn't have AstroTurf, you could see in every community they have a football park. Now we brought AstroTurf. Everybody is talking about AstroTurf. As a politician, wherever you go, people are talking about AstroTurf. And it is actually not coming. You mentioned 160. I can tell you that they are not evenly located. Because you look at the whole of the central region, we have about 21 district assemblies, and I don't think we have even up to 5 AstroTurf. But you have 160, which means that one area may have, or a certain area may have a lot of it. So as you're talking about policy, and then it will inure some benefits in the next 5 years, some areas are still lacking. And football players are coming from everywhere. So you cannot, I'll let you that if it is possible, if you think it is the development of AstroTurf that can save us football from its current state, then you have to make sure that you extend it rapidly to cover every area. However, I want you to also understand that the issue is not about the AstroTurfs or the fields. We need the fields. But there should be a clear policy where every community, you liaise with the district assemblies, that they designate areas in every community where they have football or sports facility, when you travel outside, we all see every community has a park. It is not the same. You go to where I live in Accra, all the way from Weja to Kasua, you may not get up to even 2 parks. And I think this is something that, as a ministry, you should consider. If you think that the parks are the main issue, even though it's a major driver, I think that we should be able to work closely with the district assemblies and get designated areas in every community that can promote the sports. Because somebody may not have the money to drive all the way from maybe La Paz to Kanesi Sports Complex or Legon before he or she can train. When this happens, it means that people have talent and may still not be able to develop it. So I just want to bring this to your attention.
Very well. Honorable...
that the coaches are not paid monthly, but it's based on performance or tournament-based. They are tournament-based coaches. Some of them. I want to, because we, Mr. Chair, Honorable Chair, we want solutions and practicalities. If you look at Argentina, from 2003, 2005, 2007, they used to have one coach for their under-20 team. That coach eventually became their national team coach. The players that went through, because he had a fixed contract, the national team is offering these coaches a long-term contract so that it will cure the mischief of influence, money influence in the selection of these coaches and in their progression. Will you consider that?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. That's a very excellent question and submission. And it's something that myself, I've also even proposed to the GFA. That, for example, you have a coach who will start under 13 or under 15. That coach should be able to graduate with the players to under 17. The same coach should be able to graduate with the players to under either 19 to under 20. Then they will stay together for a very long time. He knows their philosophy, he knows the individual player very well. By the time they get to the senior national team, they would have played together for a very long period. So it becomes very easy for them to play around as a team. And it's something that is laudable, and if the managers of our football should consider, you understand. In terms of having a long-term contract, it is not the ministry, like I mentioned, that signed the contracts with these coaches. We can only make a proposal to the FA or make suggestions, just like every Ghanaian, and make policies to them. But in terms of signing contract with them, like I mentioned, it's based on terms and conditions. Once the term says that it's going to be a performance base, and that performance base, you only receive this when you are competing. You receive this when you achieve this. When you achieve something, then you get your remuneration, and you accept, and you work hard, and you deliver. I think the FA will also give you more opportunity to even progress, as you have suggested.
Minister, you just mentioned about the sports policy that you have developed,
yes,
and it's at an advanced stage. If you can go back to that sports policy, because if you make budgetary provisions that we are going to pay our junior national team coaches every month as part of your policy, and it make budgetary provisions, it will be done. Because if you leave it to the GFA alone, that it is your duty. You know, my colleagues asked you a question, are you concerned? Because you said, as a citizen, Minister, I beg to differ. You are head of the sports in Ghana.
No, I didn't say as a citizen. As the minister for different sports, I'm concerned. And
Yep.
as a patriotic Ghanaian.
Yes, I heard that point, the patriotic Ghanaian point. Not just as a patriotic Ghanaian. Because, Minister, in 2003, we were under 17 champions. 1993, sorry. In 1991, we were champions. In 93, we were in the finals. In 95, we were champions. In 97, we came back to, I think, fourth in Malaysia, third or fourth in Malaysia. You see, that group of people eventually led us to the finals of the under-20. in 2002. They were the nucleus of the team that went to the first World Cup. By the time 2010 came, they were at their peak, and they performed very well. By 2014, they were declining. It's the reason why you state it was the worst World Cup that we have ever had. But 2018, we didn't even qualify. In 2022, we qualified. But because of what the petitioner said, we were looking for players from diaspora, because we have gone beyond the local level and the juvenile level. Minister, your term as the minister have seen the worst numbers, like the people said. So I will urge you for us to go back to what the petitioners have said, that we should take notice of the local league and then the juvenile teams. Very critical point that they made. But my main question for you is that there was sponsorship money that the people mentioned. But the government funded our participation in the World Cup, because you brought documents to Parliament to that effect that the government funded that participation. But there were monies that were given by, have you seen or have you demanded for accountability? Because one of the issues that they raised was also about accountability. Have you demanded for accountability of those monies?
Oh, yes, I have done. I've demanded for accountability.
And what was the outcome? Because they mentioned specific figures too. They mentioned 10.8, 10.5 million. Those are the state ones. Okay.
So when it comes to the prize money that we get from the World Cup, the 10-point-something million and all those things, we started our World Cup in 2006. And the prize money that we had, the government then decided to give portion, and I don't have the figures here. It's something that we can cross-check and get you the figures. Portion of the money to the FA then to be used for their technical center, and that is the pram. And some portion, you know, like I mentioned, that the government invests in the tournament. When a major tournament like this is going, it's government that put in the resources and everything. So at the other time, government took some portion to the consolidated fund. The same thing once we went to South Africa, 2010. Government had prize money, and everything was taken in 2010 to the consolidated fund. Then in 2014, we went for the World Cup again. Again, the prize money that came, also government took it from the FA. Then also in 2022, when the prize money came, portion of it that we spent, government took it, and which is about 5-point-something, government took it to finance our participation in AFCON. And 2.8 has been given to the FA to improve on the standard and the hotels in Pram. As we speak, at the last Congress of the FA, which is just about 2 weeks ago, the FA cut the sort to build a hotel facility for our national teams at Pram. And the ministry is monitoring critically to ensure that the portion that has been given to them is utilized for the purpose of which it was given to them. So to answer your question, whether accountability based on our prize money, during my period, this is what I've said. But the historical fact is what I've given you. Then once, what I intend to disagree with you, your statement that I'm the worst, as a minister, I'm the worst performer in terms of numbers. I don't know which numbers you are talking about. So you should be able to tell me what numbers, the data you are using to determine during my time, it is the worst. I want to know that. But I also tend to agree with you that the progress, and that's why I mentioned that I even made that proposal to the FA, that once you have your junior national team, and that team progress, the whole entire team, at least 80% of that entire team progress to the next stage, and you get the same component, nucleus of the team progressing to the next stage, there is always going to be dividend. You are going to have a very strong senior national team, and you just chronically give our performance from the junior national team from 1991 all the way to the time that we went to the 2010 we went to the World Cup, and it started declining. A new team has also been put together. This team have not played together for a very long time. This current team, they've not played the number of games. At the time that we went to South Africa, that team have played together for a very long time, more than maybe 60 games together, and you saw the dividend. So that is why I said that it is something that we have proposed and we put in the policy to ensure that that progression of senior national team is done. But I disagree with you on that.
We should be mindful of the time also, because everybody will be asking questions. One last one.
He disagreed with me, but maybe not you as the minister alone, not you as the minister. Okay, so not you. Let me explain. I'm proceeding with since 2017 because they are critical. We are building AstroTurfs. My friend mentioned about 160 of them. But our local league, we used to have 2 reps for Champions League, 2 reps for Confederations Cup. Until this year, the Confederations Cup have been reduced 1. Since 2017, none of our local junior teams have qualified for any of the World Tournament. These are the areas that we get our talent from. So I just averting your mind to the fact that AstroTurfs are good. But if you don't take critical look at what is in the petition, the Juvenile League, the Coast League, and the rest, we are going to have challenge. That's what I mean.
Chairman, just to re-echo what I said, maybe because I said AstroTurf is going to solve our problem. No. I said we have identified the problem, we are fixing the infrastructure bit, and we have developed programs, and these programs are going to be competitions. And I even mentioned that we have shifted from sports promotion to sports development. And I went further to even explain what I meant by sports development. And that sports development is making sure that we have our juvenile competition in schools. And I mentioned that there's going to be a school sports federation established. So these are things that we have put together to ensure that we improve on our outputs. But I also mentioned that policy will take time. This AstroTurf that we have developed, it is going to start, a lot of people are going to start having competitions, and talents are now going to be picking up. Some of the children will be as young as maybe 12, start playing on these pitches. And in the next 5-10 years, you will see the impact of putting these facilities dotted around the country. That's all I mentioned.
Okay.
All right, so I believe the minister will have the opportunity to explain to the committee. There's a controversy over some payment of some amount you made to GBC. While some are saying the ministry paid $3 million to the GBC. GBC is also claiming they received an amount of $105,000. Can the minister explain to the committee?
And we discussed several programs that after this we will have to go into the AFCON. We will go into the AFCON to know. So it's like we'll go African Games, the African Games, and we'll go into all those issues, I'm sure. But then if it is, it's not that it's becoming, it is. There are several issues, including what my minister almost was beating me about, that I said something about accreditation and all that. We will go into all of that. And there's this other person from LOC who was on Peace FM to chastise myself and the entire committee about some rules and all that. We have those videos and all that with us, called Mr. Mante. We have all of that. And so all the issues are something that we will go into the nitty-gritties. So I think that if he's ready to, because in any case, it's a bullet that he will be facing eventually anyway.
Yeah? Mr. Chairman, once they issue it, and now public funds are easy to trace. If I said I've paid money and it's not paid, Bank of Ghana, SWIFT code, and everything is there for verification. Thank you.
Very well. Very well. Yeah, sure.
Ghana field that we just built, it's not a FIFA standard. Why? But how come FIFA says it's all over we are looking for a pitch in Togo. Togo is rejecting us, and that we don't have a standard FIFA pitch for the national team.
Thank you. Currently, as we speak, we have 4, like I mentioned, we have 4 of our clubs already using it. 4 clubs are using it. Why? Because we are rehabilitating the Accra Sports Stadium and also Cape Coast Sports Stadium. They have closed them down, and we are rehabilitating the pitch to improve the pitch to the standard that is required because of the heavy use that we have used our pitches. Not that we don't have a FIFA standard. We have FIFA standard pitches in Ghana. We have 1 in Accra, 2 in Accra. That's here, Accra Sports Stadium and Legon Sports Stadium. We have Baba Yara Sports Stadium, FIFA standard. We have FIFA standard Cape Coast. We are renovating Esipon Sports Stadium. Currently, because of the sea, the closeness of the sea to the stadium, the metal got damaged, rust, and they have to blast all those metals, take the roof off. Now they are re-roofing. They've done all those works, and they are re-roofing. Very soon, it's also going to be completed. So it is not true that we don't have FIFA standard stadium facilities in Ghana. It's not.
Blaster plays there, and they are qualified back.
It is up to CAF. It is up to the CAF inspectors to come and decide. We have written to them, and they are yet to respond.
So just a follow-up to what you have just said, because I just saw something on the social media. How true that is, that they have selected Côte d'Ivoire for the team to go and play. How true is that?
I don't have any information yet. Like I said, we have written, once Kumasi was used for that social event, that did damage the pitch, and we had issue with Kumasi. We wrote to CAF that they should consider Accra Sports Stadium and Cape Coast, and we are waiting to get a response. Thank you.
Very well. So it means what is on the social media currently it may not be true. I don't know. Okay.
With the work of the FA.
Honourable Minister, clearly you've indicated how our coaches are handled. And if you look at what the petitioners presented, they're actually talking about the disparity, the unfairness. That is what they are talking about. The way the Black Star coach and all this, is being handled. The other coaches handling the other national teams. Not necessarily, Honourable Minister, it is not an issue of taking the same salary and the same incentives and all that. It is not. It is about keeping them on the job and then not having a divided attention and then giving us what we all expect. In this case, you realize that the other coaches, apart from those handling the Black Stars, are on monthly salary. The others, they will have to prove their worth before they are given something. In other words, performance-based, as you are saying, they will have to go and play. That is when they get to get something. And as Radley mentioned, for so many years now, 2017 down the line, they've not participated in any event. And so then, in this case, they have been left in that manner. And so how then do we expect them to train our young ones and give us the results? I think it is a key matter for serious consideration. And I think that there are ways, we'll suggest ways in our report. They will suggest ways in our report. Because the issue is that I was going to even ask you whether you are not engaging them full time. Are you not engaging them full time? Or some of them are having their own profession somewhere before doing this part-time, so that at least at the end of the month, body and soul is kept together. So this is what I want to find out, because it is your team. You are the head. In fact, this is a national team. You are the one, definitely, for FA, they are just managing the team on our behalf. They are just managing the team. The national teams belongs to us. And so definitely you are the one to ensure that they deliver. So what is your take, once again? Because I want to ask you, what is your take? Now, you are free to probably suggest, going forward, putting those people on stable salary in order for them to deliver on what the nation expects them to do. Other than that, I don't think we will be getting anywhere. Because if you have assigned somebody to the under 16, under 17, for instance, and the person is not employed anywhere, but this is the job he has, and you expect the person to perform before he's able, and then I don't think you'll be able to get it. So look at that critically and review your stand. Review your stand. Your stand seems to suggest that that is what it is, and therefore whatever. So if you look at what the petitioners presented, clearly this is the import of what they are trying to put across. And they even told you some of the implications. They said the implications are that you allow these people, they become so vulnerable for people to then use them against the interest of the global, the national interest. I get it now. So they probably may be suggesting weaker players when they are taking money from your potential opponents you are going to play with. They can begin, you are part of the group of technical people at the FA, even though you are handling under 17 or under 20 or whatever. Look, you might be hurt. Take this. And then make sure the composition to go and face us, bring weaker people. They just indicated it. And that becomes an influence from behind the scene because you are not taking care of them well. Now, the way forward could be, I will just put that across that. Yes, these people could be employed by any of the state institutions and then given that particular role. So that at the end of the month, even though they are handling all the time on the field, ensuring that the kids are there together and then playing constantly and then maybe doing the local friendlies and all that, putting them all together, he knows at the end of the month, something will trickle into his account. That will make the person motivated to go on, and so I think that is what you should be looking at. But let me just ask my first question that I expect you to.
Thank you so much. I've taken note of you.
160 astroturfs, and then I got the list you presented to Parliament, and I saw through the list, and I saw that my astroturf in Fievie in Sohagope, that is Wafa Park, that we built privately with the help of Red Bull somewhere in 2007 as part of the list that you are calling 160. So let me ask, are you saying that you built that one too?
Thank you so much, Mr. Chairman. What I mentioned is that the policy of making sure that we have these sports facilities, whether private or government or anything, the most important thing is that before His Excellency Nana Danko Akufo-Addo, we have only 3, whether private or government. As we speak, in Ghana, by the facilitation of government, we have gotten private people, we have gotten government agencies, we have gotten the central government put up more than 166, and there are more still ongoing. So the good news is that once these are completed, like I mentioned, a lot of young people will have these facilities and be able to use and train so that we can develop more talent when it comes to football.
Are you aware that the decision by a lot of the private entities to put up these sporting facilities in their communities were taken long before your coming into office?
I'm not aware.
On this occasion, I want to help you by saying that you review your statements. There are a number of them that have been built.
doesn't also also stop the fact that government is working with the private sector to develop them. So I know where you are landing.
So the issue is this: the issue of government facilitating, should it be a comprehensive one? It shouldn't, in the sense that a lot of the privately built astroturfs had been done long before what you guys did. Now, Honorable Minister, these astroturfs, I don't know whether you are aware that a lot of them have been declared more or less a death, like you are sentencing somebody to finish his career in few years when the person is playing on that. Are you aware? There's a whole report on that, and I don't mind to show it to you.
I'm not aware. You show. I will need you to get a report.
Now, some of the base, just to give you some clarity, some of the bases of these astroturfs that have been built are such that it's with 5 years or more of training on that same pitch, that fellow would have ligament issue. And that person will be thrown out of the very profession they want to develop on those particular pitches. So one, they are not up to standard, and they are not fit for purpose, and are not able to even bail us as a country out of the crisis we find ourselves of getting a pitch on which we can play looking at the whooping amount of money that was spent. So just answer that.
Mr. Chairman, you just passed the regulation, the LI, legislative instrument for the National Sports Authority. And in that regulations, we have put in black and white that every sports facility that is going to be happening should be satisfied, should get certification and standards from the National Sports Authority. And you know the National Sports Authority have this capacity to be able to do so. So your fears are laid, taken care of. Apart from that, these facilities that have been put together, most of them have their lifespan, and the way also we maintain them is also another challenge. And those challenges have been identified. We have asked the National Sports Authority to engage all these managers of this astroturf to ensure that the maintenance, they maintain them well so that they can serve the purpose for which they were put up.
Yeah, definitely I'm aware with the help of the committee we were able to put together, your ministry was able to put together the LI, which got matured some few months ago. Going forward. Now, can you give me an answer to this simple question? Because a lot of people are asking this. What thoughts went into the initial idea to camp our stars in South Africa pre-AFCON?
Mr. Chairman, that question should be given to the FA. What I know is that the ministry insisted that we should camp in Ghana because we're going to have the game in Cote d'Ivoire, and the FA agreed with the ministry, and we did camp in Ghana.
So, for some time now, is there any plan by the ministry to ensure that you have facilities for camping of our stars anytime they are preparing for a tournament, without necessarily going out? I'm aware of a few, in fact, a wonderful work being done by the FA with the help of, okay, so, no, I am aware, please, if you are here, no. I am aware the role of government is key in this matter, right? The role of government is key in this matter. I'm aware FIFA is also trying, in fact, supporting the GFA to do a few things. So you would then have to let me know, or let the committee know, maybe the breakdown of the resources you have channeled into that project. So we are interested in knowing how much money has gone into all of that.
All right, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Chairman, we will let you know later.
My next question was going to be, you know, at the
What of the revenue that we have received? I did mention this, so I don't know why. If you want a documentary letter that shows how much has been, like the approvals from Chief of Staff, we'll make provision for it. There was a component of the prize money that government have decided that the FA should use to put up facilities for camping. And like I mentioned, the shortcut has been done. And very
spent a total of 3 million in effect for the 11 days stay in Côte d'Ivoire. Do you have the breakdown here? Can we share with us? Because somebody worked it out and was saying that about $300,000 per day was what was spent. $300,000 per day.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, when it comes to our national team, it is important for us to know that our national team is almost 100% foreign-based players. And when you call them for a duty, you need to fly them on business class to wherever you want them. And in this case, one of the major components of the expenditure was to make sure that we fly the flight cost of all our team, including the technical team, to Ghana. And the breakdown, I will give you the breakdown soon. We also have per diem. Once they come during or they come for the camping period, the period that they are supposed to camp, you need to give them per diem to be able to stay and be able to buy petty things like credit to call their families, because once they come straight to camp. So the players are paid per diem, and these per diems are paid during the pre-camping period and also during the games period. Then also we have accommodation. Accommodation, you have during the camping period, you need to get hotels that these players and the technical team are going to stay in. And these hotels are not going to take, and we know the cost of hotels in Ghana, and the cost, there is also cost associated with accommodation, both the camping period and even the main tournament. The main tournament, why? Because CAF give a number, a certain number that CAF will absorb. So when you go extra above that number, you need to make provision for accommodation as well. So it's also a cost. That's it. Apart from this, once they come, we need to feed them. So feeding is a major component also with the cost that we're given. Then we have medicals. Medicals is also one that is very critical. And also you have cost components for medicals. Then you have qualification. So what we do is that based on their qualification, for example, when they are playing for the World Cup, if they are supposed to get $10,000 for winning a match to be able to qualify, what we have instituted is to make sure that they get only 50% of that. Then once they qualified, we give them the rest of the 50. So we call it qualification bonus. So there's also qualification bonus that we normally will pay. Then also, once they came here, you know, we did a campaign here. We needed to also play a friendly match, because one of the reasons why normally you see countries, our countries going to camp outside is to get a neighboring team, a very good team to also do, a country to be able to play, so that you'll be able to prepare yourself for this thing. And in this case, we're able to play a team here in Ghana. And because we play them here, we have to pay for their flights from they are based here because they, luckily for us, they camped in Ghana as well. So normally you should have even flew them from their country if it is you at your call. But in this case, they came to camp here, so we have to fly them from here to Kumasi and fly them back, and also accommodate them because it's our call. So it's also part of the expenditure. Then our team, once they are here and they are going to Côte d'Ivoire, you have to charter a flight, and that flight comes at a cost. Apart from you flying all of them business class, and when they are going to go business class, you also have to charter a flight here and take them to their base. And when they finish, you get a flight to bring them back. So those are the cost components.
Before you go on, yes, at that point, what's the role of CAF? Is CAF not providing means to get to?
To the best of my knowledge, CAF don't provide. It's the state that provided.
No, for the team. I'm talking about the team.
The team. I mean the team.
The team to
yes.
Côte d'Ivoire.
Yes, is the
from
state.
the country to Côte d'Ivoire. It's borne by the country, not CAF.
CAF, not CAF.
Is this actuals?
No, these are actuals. Yes, I will table it. I will table it to the committee.
Because I hear qualification bonus. I didn't know where we qualified.
Oh, you played, normally you play several, for example, as you speak, we are playing our qualification bonus, our qualification matches for the tournament in Morocco.
So the qualified
series.
Okay.
So when you call...
It's qualification from group stage?
No.
Because you didn't qualify.
Yes. No, we qualify for the tournament. Okay. So, for example, when we're going to Qatar, we play series of matches, sometimes 8 matches. Ideally, you should be paying them $10,000 for every win. Winning bonus. But we said, no, we are not going to be able to be paying you that $10,000. You may pay $10,000 for about 3 matches, and they will go, they don't qualify. The state loses. You don't get opportunity to go. So we will hold on some, so that when you qualify, we'll give you some. When you qualify, we'll give you the rest. So we call it qualification bonus for the tournament. So, Mr. Chairman, that is it. These are the components, and I will give you a copy.
Very well. So you'll be giving us details about that for us to peruse, and if there are issues, we'll still be inviting you to come and assist the committee for further clarifications on that. There's this funny thing that, I'm sure my colleagues even ask questions about, and it's been raging on for some time now. And it's been an issue with regards to the fact that Ghana, we've been more or less, in fact, if I think I should not be making any mistake, that we are a football nation in our own right, in terms of what we have achieved over the years. And one basic, very basic, I call it, is approval for a pitch on which we can play a Category 3 match. And why we are suffering from this, I don't know, and it's so amazing. As we speak now, CAF hasn't approved any pitch in Ghana yet. Is that correct?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Mr. Chairman, you know, prior to our playoff with Nigeria, we had an issue before the COVID. National teams were to present the dressing room component for each stadium was 16 for the cabinet that you put in. So the demarcation and everything was for 16 members, and sometimes maybe 20. But after COVID, things have changed. So the requirements for facilities have also changed. So once we had opportunity of playing the playoff with Nigeria, the government took a decision to make sure that we position Kumasi in making sure that they meet all the requirements, whether it is the changing room, whether it is the scoreboard, whether it is the reserve bench, whether it is the pitch, and everything. So we put in all this investment to ensure that even we have to reconfigure the changing room to increase the numbers, because the numbers of team now that you can present for any major tournament have increased from the usual 18 to 25, sometimes 26. And each of them, when they come, they should have a place to hang their things in the changing rooms. So major facilities have to be reconfigured. Luckily for us, we were able to do so in Kumasi to make sure that we make room for, so that we then station for all categories of matches FIFA approved. Then we played our various matches from them. From then, we played all our competitions, qualifications, matches there. Until recently, when the NSA decided to give out the stadium for a church program. And this church program lasted for almost 1 week without records to the ministry. Then the church program destroyed the pitch. We demanded immediately I got the wind as a sector minister. I asked the NSA why that decision. And they said, okay, they have a recovery plan. So I demanded for the recovery plan. And the recovery plan, when they submitted, was to make sure that they recover the pitch so that we'll be able to, because I knew that we'll have impending matches. So the recovery plan was for us to be able to play our games against Angola and also other matches that are coming up. But when the Angola match came and the pitch the CAF then came to they did the assessment and gave us approval to be used. But after the match, there were a lot of reports that the pitch wasn't good, and CAF was concerned and lifted the approval that we had based on the pitch, not the other facilities, but based on the pitch. But we also knew that we have our pitches here, which is currently under rehabilitation. Where? Accra and Cape Coast. Because we're also making sure that they also meet the same standard. So we have started working on them. Both currently, Cape Coast have all the facilities. The pitch has been rehabilitated and is ready. But normally when you finish these things, CAF have to send their inspectors to come and certify all that. For example, my colleague asked, why is it that we built Legon, which is an international standard. I said international standard, yet it's not approved. When you finish such a thing, you need to make sure that they come to certify it and put it in their database as one of the certified facilities. You understand? These rehabilitations have been done both in Accra and Cape Coast and even Legon. But CAF is here to certify them. So it's the certification that we are having issue with, and CAF have indicated that they will come to do the inspection and give those certifications.
Go ahead.
These rehabilitations, is it true that from 2021 to now, we have used 85 million Ghana cedis in these rehabilitations? 2021, 22, 23. Is it true?
It's not true.
Then let me couch it this way, because it was going to be my next question.
It's not true.
My question will be that, I mean, after we have spent as a nation an amount of 85 million thereabouts for the rehabilitation of these facilities, looking at the time and today, we are looking at just a period of what, 5-6 years. And if so, if really good work was done, some of which included our pitches had to be renovated, are we saying that today those pitches are not available to take care of the situation?
You're done? So, Mr. Chairman, the renovation works started in 2018. There was an audit of all our national stadia by the AESL. AESL did an audit in 2014. And in 2014, it raised an alarm of a danger looming. Let me come, please. You ask your question, let me answer. Let me answer. A danger looming. Why? Because the Accra Sports Stadium was becoming a death trap and needed immediate attention. And this is a record at the AESL, which is a government-certified engineering firm, consulting firm. Nothing was done. Nothing was done till this stadia deteriorated further until 2018. Then in 2018, when Ghana had the opportunity to host the Women AFCON, the then minister then decided to seek approval from the chief of staff to make sure that we revamp our national stadia. These stadia, as I mentioned, are made by metals, heavy metals. And because of the locations to the sea, all the metals were rotten, rust. And it was very difficult, even at the VVIP sector, if you read the report very well, and I will make copies of the report to the committee. Then,
what you sent out?
If you have seen it already, then you shouldn't ask me a question because
I'll be asking you questions. You
then
I'll be asking you questions.
Yes. Then the renovations were done in phases. Why? Because we didn't have the needed funding to be able to carry out a comprehensive study as advised or prescribed by AESL. Because of the funding challenges, it needed to be done in phases. Then it was done, and we used it to host the Women AFCON, the various stadiums, and that is Cape Coast and Accra. After that, the second phase and the third phase were done even before 2021. Even before 2021. And since 2021, there have never been any renovation in Accra. Then the second phase of Kumasi started in 2023, if my memory serves me right. I have to cross-check. But the first phase for Esipon have also started long before. You understand? And after that, we have renovated this stadia, and we have used it for Women AFCON. We have used them for the African Games. And you know number of countries that came and used these pitches. When pitches are used heavily, and league matches, they need constant rehabilitation. They need constant maintenance. And that is why immediately after the African Games, the ministry took the decision to make sure that these two stadia are put under, especially the pitches are put under rehabilitation, which I said currently they are ready. So to answer your question, it is not just we have renovated them, we have not used, within short time and they are not ready. The renovation, if we have done that in 2014, maybe it would have reduced the costs that we have put in now, of which you have mentioned. Thank you.
Before I even come to that period where I am aware the procurement process to get a contractor to do some work had started. But then, but then that is not the issue. The issue is that, hello.
Procurement took you 5 years to be able to do till 2018.
No, but then I don't think that. Don't digress. Let's come back to the issue. You have spent $85 million Ghana cedis.
Procurement started in 2014. And I'm asking you, 2014, procurement started to 2018. And we couldn't stop and make sure that we saved the national stadia when there was a report that was indicating an alarming stage.
Hello? When I'm speaking, I prefer you stay quiet, okay? I am aware, before the exit of the NDC government in 2016, right, some work had started in terms of the process of procuring somebody, a contractor, to do some work. And I'll tell you that in details later. But then I think let's come back to the issue. You came after 1 year. 2018 was when you initiated the process to do what? To do that. So what were you also doing in that whole 2017? That is not the issue. That is not the issue we are talking about. The issue is this. the issue we want to, you have spent the taxpayers' money.
That is why I want to,
please.
Minister,
I am talking.
Okay, Chairman, you go. I just don't want you to create the impression.
Mr. Minister, let's come back to, let us come back to the issue. You have spent 85 million Ghana cedis for rehabilitation on these facilities. I am looking at the time frame when there should be another intervention. After spending that money, when do you spend another quantum again? In the space of 6 years or less, right? After spending 85 million, we can't boast of a ready pitch. Mind you, the mandate and the responsibility of your own sector ministry overseeing the National Sports Authority is not taken away, of ensuring that that place is ready at all times in terms of maintenance. And even if all the stadia we have should have that challenge, it should never be all of them at a go for us to now be searching which one to use. This is my problem. We have many stadia. We have Cape Coast, we have Accra, we have even Tamale, we have Babayara and the Sport. So you have, in fact, you even mentioned a number of them, including the latest Legon. So if Babayara is denied today, it shouldn't be difficult for us to say, okay, let's switch to this place. But then it appears there are issues with all of them. So this is where I am saying that, do you think what had taken place in terms of rehabilitation, was there value for money?
Chairman, thank you. Maybe you are not listening to me, so I have to repeat myself. I said the project started in phases, and after the first and second phase, the Kumasi Stadium and Cape Coast Stadium were used to host the Women AFCON, African Women Champions, African Women Cup. The Women AFCON was hosted in Ghana, and if you know, and I know you know that. And once we used those two stadiums, there were damages to the facilities again. But when it came for us to then make sure that we take a decision, our decision was to make sure that Kumasi becomes the epicenter to meet all the requirements because of the new changes that has occurred. We put in all the things in place until the NSA decided to rent the place out for the pitch to be damaged. Meanwhile, after the AFCON, we have also hosted the African Games. And you know that the women in the African Games, the competition took place in Cape Coast. The men took place in Accra and in Legon. And after a major tournament like this, a major African tournament, and it is not only in Ghana, and it's a globally practice that once you finish a major tournament like this, there should be rehabilitation for those facilities. And this rehabilitation is currently ongoing in both Accra and in Cape Coast. And because staff have not come to certify the work that we have done, and the only one they've certified was at Kumasi, and they've withdrawn, we have indicated, we have notified CAF that the rehabilitation work that we started immediately after the AFCON has been completed, because we didn't know that CAF would lift the ban. The CAF will lift the approval for Kumasi, and FA have not already gotten CAF to certify these two facilities that rehabilitation work have done, worked on after the African Games. So that is why I'm saying that it is not just about the expenditure that we have spent and it has not been used. We have hosted major and played major tournaments, and that is the Women AFCON, the African Games. We played both most of our qualification matches in Cape Coast, and you know.
Okay. Honorable Minister, can you tell this committee, after any major tournament on a pitch or in a stadium, major tournament, what degree of rehabilitation should take place and how long?
It depends upon the extent of the damage. Because once there is a major tournament like that, you get a lot of spectators, you get people coming in, and the pitch itself, the various places that the VVIP sector, the seats and everything. If there are broken seats, you need to fix them. So it will depend upon the extent of the damage after the tournament. And once that damage, that exercise is done, then the rehabilitation work starts. And that is why I said that currently, as we speak, all the rehabilitation works at both Accra Sports Stadium and Cape Coast has been completed. And it's waiting final CAF certification.
Honorable Minister, do we say that per your submission, National Sports Authority failed its responsibility?
Of course, on Kumasi, if they haven't taken that singular action, we played Central African Republic match, and there was no any problem. There was no any problem in Kumasi about our pitch until the facility was given out. So for their singular action, there wouldn't have been any problem at all.
Do you think National Sports Authority and its personnel, even though they will be coming, have the needed capacity to handle the management of our facilities?
We have to do a feasibility study because we know that the National Sports Authority have various departments, and I cannot just sit here and give an answer and say that they don't have the capacity. Until I have a report that indicates otherwise, I will say yes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Honorable Minister, I want to find out, you made mention that most of the stadia, they were the members that are used for the structures, because they were metallic and very close to, because the Sipon is close to the sea, Cape Coast close to the sea, Accra close to the sea. The members have rusted, and that has caused most of the damages that we have at the stadium. I want to find out that in the current renovation that is being done, are you still using metallic members for the renovation?
Yes, especially normally what the renovation required, and I don't have the details here, but I know that they will do some blasting, and this is sand blasting, and these are the technical people. They will blast before. There is something they call blasting, sand blasting, so it's to remove the rust. And once they do the blasting to remove the rust, before they will then coat it, they will use some specialized coating anti-rust to coat the metals. So these are the works that they normally will do before. And normally when they are going to do this, they will take most of the, especially a Sipon, for example, they will take the roof, the whole roof off, and they will complete all this exercise before they will come and re-roof it.
So which means that in the next 5 years, we should be also considering a major renovation if we still use this.
Yes, these facilities need constant work. If we leave them for a very long period, then it will cost us more to maintain. They need to be constantly be monitored, or else the cost involved in maintaining them becomes very, very dear.
And next question is, so with the Tamale Stadium, what work are you doing at Tamale Stadium?
Tamale is not like, for example, the Tamale, in terms of the members, everything is intact. There's no any damage. Why? Because it's not close to the sea. The major works there in Tamale is just making sure that we maintain the pitch and making sure that they maintain the dressing rooms, making sure that the changing rooms and everything is intact. Those ones, and making sure that periodically there is painting to make sure the place look attractive. And that is what is currently the NSA is doing. There's no any major renovation works, because if you go there now and you see the members, they are intact.
I was in Tamale recently, if not recently, and I wasn't very impressed with the state of the stadium. I think it's within this period.
Tamale was built for the AFCON in 2008, and since then we have not done a major renovation on that facility. There have been some feasibility studies currently ongoing to make sure that at least we make sure that we maintain it. There's some renovation works done on the stadium. A major facility like this, you can't do it and leave it. 2008 till now, there's no major renovation works. So I agree with you, but what I can assure you is that there is currently a study being done by engineers to make sure that the renovation works is done.
Okay. If it's public interest anyway, they just want to know who took the decision for the Cape Coast Stadium be used for match pass, and then the MOAGs and all that went on the pitch. Is it the National Sports Authority or is coming from the presidency?
I don't know.
Minister, you stated that the same sanctions have you recommended.
There have been sanctions already. The head of the Director General for the National Sports Authority have been relieved of his post for that singular decision without recourse to the ministry.
When was the last time that the renovation at the stadium was done before?
It was done. The renovation was done before the first phase, and I said they are in phases because of funding challenges. But when the first phase was done around 2019 or so, or 2020, I have to check the date. But when we're going to do the playoff against Nigeria, we then ask the contractor to make sure that we meet every standard that the CAF required. Number one, if the changing rooms cabinet have to be improved to 26, let's do it. And it was done. The scoreboard, if you have to change some distant technical things inside, let's service them. The floor lights, you need to meet 1,200 lakhs. By then it was some of them, sometimes 900,000. Let's improve it to meet the standard. So all those things were done to make sure, and we played all our matches after the playoff with Nigeria. All our major matches with the Blasters were played there. And even the recent Central African Republic, we played there. The World Cup qualified, where we won. And immediately after that, that decision was taken. And there was no any complaint at all about the pitch. And this current challenge we are facing is not about anything, it's just about the pitch.
So Kumasi alone, how much was spent on Kumasi renovation alone, Kumasi?
I have to cross-check. I don't have the figures here.
Okay, all right.
Honorable colleagues, it appears we have temporarily exhausted the questions we have come with, because I'm sure the committee would wind up on Monday when we meet the FA and the coaches association and also the referees association, who then will also be giving us some little highlights. So by then, if anything comes up, and we may have to, or we then have to humbly call our sector